Hey guys, Kyle, the Death Knight of Anime here, bringing you my review for Eden Zero Chapter 105. So, to start off, I have to talk about the Etherlink ammo, and just that concept alone, because not only did it make the fight in this chapter so much more dynamic, but it also added another new element to this world's combat, and this is something I'm really, honestly, like, there's basically, there's a lot I've been enjoying about Eden Zero, but this is one thing in particular I'm really enjoying, which is how Mashima manages to incorporate these new battle systems and new ideas so naturalistically within the world he's created. And there's actually a little bit of an ironic part to all this, which is that the pretty much way that Mashima incorporates all these ideas, these concepts, and these battle systems into his world, it's he's done it with he's done it with such and with arguably a much more limited setting, but because he created that one power system with ether and ether gear, it just opened the floodgates to so many different possibilities, unique concepts, and just how ether and ether gear can can pretty much be utilized within this world, just pretty much by developing this one idea existing within this arguably limited setting of space and whatnot. It created so many. It created such a unique and dynamic and dynamic and dynamic structure in order and dynamic structure that with just the battles and whatnot. That's actually the one thing I'm discovering more and more through this series is that Mashima's greatest feat with Eden Zero is creating things like the ether and the ether gear. Like initially, I thought the whole ether gear thing would become a little bloated, but I'm now starting. It was after a while where I started to realize how dynamic that Mashima is using this idea. Like he's using it definitely. He's using it in a lot of smart ways, honestly. Um, now, when it comes to the Etherlink ammo, I will admit I question it a little in terms of why Mashima didn't implement this in the battle with Eden's One and Ziggy, but at the same time, when examining it more, I do imagine the deciding factor as to why he didn't implement it in that battle were the Dark Stars and how they were so strong. It wouldn't how they themselves are so strong. It probably wouldn't have made a difference if the Eden Zero crew had used Etherlink ammo. Which, if that is the case, it gives our heroes even more incentive to kind of train or just develop their ether gear to grow stronger. To, or just develop their ether gear in general, since going by that logic, the more stronger they get, the more powerful the Etherlink ammo will be. Like if this was just a bit of a test to kind of in order to showcase Etherlink ammo to us in general and show us just how powerful it is right now with our heroes utilizing their ether and ether gear. Imagine how much more powerful the Etherlink ammo will be when they finally start developing their powers a lot more. Like that's gonna be that at that point is gonna be OP. And I definitely like how, and this is another thing I think I like, which is that eventually we basically know as to how OP that all the Eden Zero crew are gonna get, like Shiki and Rebecca and whatnot. Like they have these powers that have the potential in order to be overpowered, but Mashima is taking his time and allowing these powers to develop in order to get us from them being OP powerful. Um, Now, the battle aside, though, we've now entered, I believe, a sort of pocket cosmos within Dragonfall, the Aoi cosmos, and this is, in fact, and to me, this is the first big step toward learning what happened to Ziggy, because if you remember correctly, when we first encountered Connor, he said he originally came to Sakura Cosmos from which Aoi Cosmos. So with Connor's origins being from Aoi, there are definitely answers to be uncovered just in this area of space alone, and not even just and not even just solely when it comes to answers about Ziggy, but just maybe even how things with World 30 had shifted so much when it comes to them meeting Connor for the first time. I mean, I know a large part of that is because of Cat Leaper and whatnot, but I do but at the same time I do imagine that basically that Aoi Cosmos does particularly have some answers as to why they pretty much never met, as to why they had never met like Connor in World 30. Um, and and but story technicalities aside, the journey to get to Aoi Cosmos is something I really want to talk about because one thing I appreciate even more is how even though Mashima presented the crew like pretty much traveling pretty much traveling through like Dragonfall and through that pretty much sea and through that like ocean in space, that like cosmic ocean or whatnot, whatever you want to call it. Even though he presented all that as a very chaotic experience, he still chose to let moments breathe and allow us to soak in the experience of traveling on a sea in space. Like it was, it was one of those moments where it was one of those moments where he just kind of even though there was talking and whatnot, it still felt like he was letting us as the reader like pretty much soak in just how grand and just how grand the whole experience is, and and on top of that, he managed to capture well pretty much through the characters. I think he managed to capture this sort of mesmerizing, this sort of like pretty much mesmerizing, this sort of pretty much mesmerizing euphoria of arriving in this like very what very like beautiful like place. And even though when it comes to manga it's all black and white, I imagine when that particular scene of arriving in the of arriving in the of arriving in the Yaoi Cosmos gets animated, I imagine that pretty much shit is gonna look beautiful. Like I when I, nowadays when I read the manga, I'm looking at scenes and I'm looking at locations and how I imagine that they pretty much look in the anime adaptation. And yeah, that is and just seeing the Yaoi Cosmos, I'm like, damn, if that's how it looks on a manga page, imagine how beautiful that's gonna look on it's gonna look in an anime. Like I know the anime probably isn't gonna get to this point, but at least not in its first season. But yeah, like I'm just imagining right now, just soaking all this in. It makes me just it must just make me definitely want the anime to come like now. but but yeah, um, and on a bit of a lighter note, I love how Clean has not only gotten more clingy to Homura, but that she's also kind of got her brother by the balls in some way. And like we see in this chapter how the dynamic between Clean and Chris is basically anything she says goes with him. And you know, just based off how Clean and Chris, aka Jin, interact with the other members of the Yin Zero crew, I could be wrong, but by developing this dynamic, it does feel like Mashima is leaning into the idea of Clean and Chris, Jin, becoming full-on members of the crew. I don't know if that's actually going to be the case. But it would be interesting to see because they have been, from what we understand of their backstory, they have been alone most of their life. So for as lone wolf as Chris acts, it would be interesting to see him finally learn to accept others as comrades and friends, and see him accept Eden Zero as that home for Clean and himself. On the other hand, though, I also kind of like the dynamic we have of him being sort of a situational ally, and that feels almost where he should be. But I don't know where exactly that would leave Clean though. So yeah, I'm not sure where Mashima is planning to take these two, but it should be interesting from here, honestly. Um, Bigger thing to talk about though is that even before the battle against the dragon began, we're shown the trail of destruction left by Ziggy, and it is an image that once again reinforces Ziggy's power, but I doubt Mashima is going to plunge us into another battle with him so soon. I imagine how things are going to go from here is we're going to step a little more into a villain of the week format from this point on, like pitting the Eden Zero crew against antagonists who are allied with Ziggy in some form or another or associated with Ziggy, and occasionally having a run-in with the Dark Stars as well, leading up to the final conflict with him. Like I think from here that's probably what it's gonna go. Like it's all gonna be about like them finding answers of what happened to Ziggy and through that having conflicts associated with that as well. So yeah, but yeah, guys, that's all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Lister Control. Death Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.